Welcome everybody to the N Word for Nerd podcast. I'm your host here, Jason, and I'm here with my nearest and dearest, the Duke of all nerds. Jason, what's going on, my man?
The other Jason. I'm here in beautiful Jacksonville, Florida.
Remember to share, like, and follow us here at Headcanon Circus on YouTube, Facebook. Also, we are on all listening podcast places: Spotify, Anchor FM, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. Remember to hit the bell notification on YouTube so you'll be notified when we post again. And let's jump right into the fun part of the show. Well, the
Ring
fun
the
part of
bell,
the show for
guys.
Jason is drinking, but fun part of this show for me is going to be talking about this next subject and some spoilers. Jason, do you anywhere you want to start? Because I do have some questions, so we can start with my questions, or if you want to start somewhere, we can jump right to it.
Uh, there are several things I want to start with. Like, they do present some interesting ideas in the beginning of this movie, but they also do some things that are very on the nose. Like, for example, and this is the kind of thing that kind of annoyed me because a lot of the stuff they did from the whole meta thing, it was just very, very. It wasn't clever. They just literally just stated it. Like, the whole like, oh, they forced us to make this movie. They just literally said Warner Brothers forced us to make this movie either with us or without us. Or there's the part where Neil Patrick Harris's analyst says something like, "Oh, women used to be easier to control," or some dumb shit like that. And I'm like, you are a genderless fucking program. Like, why are you being sexist right now? Like, that doesn't make any goddamn sense. And the whole premise of this movie doesn't make any goddamn sense to me because, like, you think that the guy and the girl who beat the Matrix the first time, and plus the program that nearly ruined the last Matrix, you would think you would not like put them back in a Matrix. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they're known
Mm-hmm.
for beating matrices, and you're like, no, it'll be fine. We'll put them back in there. We'll just make them like, sort of kind of close together, but like not close enough. But like, it's just like, are you an idiot? Like, it's all the machines idiots. Like, like you think you're so clever because we're just like, oh, but at the end of the day, they still beat your fucking dumbass plan. Like, without much trouble because no one died in
Mm-hmm.
this movie. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't much of an as they say in Screen Rant, it was barely an inconvenience. Like,
Right.
nothing here, nothing here was a challenge for them. It wasn't a challenge for Neo to like convince Naomi to let him do his thing. They just let him go. Like, literally, they were like, "Oh, we're gonna lock you up," and the very next scene, it's like, "Oh yeah, I'm escaping." Oh, they have their ship back and all the good stuff. We're going to the Matrix. Oh, we got to find Trinity. Oh, there she is. Oh, we got to get her out. We'll just do this, and she just got to choose to get out. She chooses no. What happens? If she chooses no. We don't know. She might die, but she doesn't choose no. Of course not. And there's like such a better like sort of through line here that they kind of hint at, but they just totally like just wash away. Like, if this was Trinity's story about Trinity finding her way out of the Matrix after becoming a parent, having kids, and like having like actual like responsibilities, unlike Neo, who's just kind of like drifting through life, being a super successful game designer, like that is a struggle right there. As a parent, like that would be something that was an interesting idea. Like, are those kids really your kids? I mean, like, are they bots? What, like, all these different ideas. Like, I can think of 1,000 different directions for going just from that idea alone, and they just totally gloss over it. And it bullshit. And why would you bring fucking John? It was kind of cool seeing two obviously homosexual men do an action scene against each other. That was pretty cool, but no, this
Yeah.
is like you just ruin everything. It's just like, just because there's nostalgia doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah. Let me, I guess, jump on in here because my I remember the moment when I said, okay, this movie is bad, and the moment I remember was that when you said it, when they had to go rescue Trinity. Now in this movie, they have set up that Neo and Trinity gave out so much power and output that this is why they wanted to do this again. They wanted to make another Matrix because they were like the supercharged batteries, I guess. And you pretty much let Neo out easily. And
Very
then the
inconvenient.
Trinity thing, yeah, just extremely easy. And then again, knowing that this is the guy that has been able to shut you down and keep almost pushing out of your control, because they even make references that like they did numerous simulations to figure out the best way to keep him contained, and he keeps pushing out. But then you make rescuing his body pretty easy. But then the second biggest battery you have is Trinity, and you make it even easier for them to go get her. Like, you knew that one got away, and so you should be on high alert. And they even make a reference to being like, "Oh, it's gonna be so hard to get her because they're gonna expect that they're gonna try to move her." And they're like, "Well, no," because almost giving emotions to these robots to be like, "Oh no," because they think they're so superior, they're just gonna leave her where she is. And we're like, that is be the most illogical thing a robot would do. Like, leave the person where they were, where you the other person you needed got killed. Like, what?
Y'all know where she
And then they
is.
get it. Yeah, they get in there and they do this without any difficulty, and it's like, and that's I was like, oh, this is a bad movie. Like they couldn't even make a high stakes reason to get Trinity out of here. The high stakes moment was, is she going to choose to be in this or not? That was supposed to be the high stakes moment. And anybody who watches the movie knows she's going to choose to leave, especially when you make her husband a D bag at the last minute.
Yeah.
Like, so that was a bad movie. Let's do with the elephant in the room. Like, you can't replace Hugo Weaving and Lawrence Fishburne with
No.
the
See, here's
people
the
you
fucked up
replaced them
part.
with.
They tried to get Hugo Weaving. They didn't even try to get Lawrence Fishburne. Like, only reason
That's
Hugo
ridiculous.
Weaving
That's
is not in the
absurd.
movie is because he just couldn't make his scheduling work, and they were just like, "We're just gonna move on without you." And he's like, "All right, fuck you guys, in that's fine." But they didn't even call Lawrence. They didn't even text him. They're like, "Yo, we got
Which
new Matrix for you. We're just gonna get there."
I,
And it's like also like I like Yaya. I can't remember his last name. It's not
Abdul
Anglo.
something. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
It's
not. We're
not
not being
anglicized.
offensive. Yeah,
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 but it's just like he was the most useless character in there. There's no reason for him to be in this. He does literally nothing, uh, other than the fact that he's named Morpheus and he looks cool. And he's not even the Morpheus that the original Morpheus. He's a program of Morpheus that Neo created
yeah.
for whatever reason. Don't
Hold
I
on.
don't know
Also,
what
remember
reason.
they said he has a hint of Smith in him as well.
Oh yeah, he also
Like,
has a
that's
little
why he
bit
was
of
an agent
Agent
at the
Smith, in him,
beginning. Because yeah, he has a hint of. So it's
which is
Yahya
like
Abdul
the
Mateen is his name.
yeah, which is also the dumbest thing ever. Fucking Agent Smith nearly destroyed everybody. Why are y'all
Yes.
reprogramming this thing? Why are y'all letting this thing back in the fucking like
Well,
he nearly
because if they would have
destroyed
done a
not
better
only
job,
humans but also all the machines. Like why is he still here?
well, because if they did a better job of explaining it, what they were trying to do, but they didn't do a good job explaining it, was saying that when they recreated this new Matrix, Neo's wants and needs were also implemented in the recreation. And
And they
because what we know from
need
the previous trilogy, yeah, Neo needs a yang to his yin. So I'm thinking the system itself did not want a Smith. That Neo's need to have a yang to his yin put a Smith in there. But that's easily explained as easily as I just did it. Because they did a whole bunch of exposition dump. That could have been an easy exposition dump. Because you're right, it's no reason to have a Smith in here. But also, it goes to the point like you can't get these guys to play these epic, and not even because the characters are epic, the
yeah.
actors who play those characters are like some of the best in the biz. I can't expect. I'd rather you just made a new character and just said that this character was influenced by Morpheus, so we didn't expect them to
by
be
Morpheus or by
Morpheus.
Smith. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
All you had to do was
you're
that
definitely
Morpheus
drawing
purpose.
a comparison between
Yeah,
the two performances by saying they're the same character. This happens with
right.
every Joker that comes out. You have to. I mean, like it is what it is. But it's like
Yeah,
if you're going to have them in there, like at least have them be like, Agent Smith was the bad guy. In this one, he is just not the bad guy. Like he's
yeah.
just there. He wants to. He
He's
is literally like a stepping stone for Neo. Like he's just there because he wants to fight the analyst too, but he doesn't want Neo to do it. So he's like, I want to do it. So and they fight for a little bit, but like at the end, it doesn't matter.
didn't
It
mean
doesn't
anything.
matter.
The fight didn't mean anything at all.
Didn't mean
Uh,
anything. And this whole
and
thing,
so
it's all toothless. It's all. I think this is the thing that makes me the most upset is that in the original Matrix movie, they had, side characters, that were visually appealing, even if you don't remember their names. I remember, Mouse, Switch, Cypher. Actually,
mhm,
you do remember most of their names. In this one, you don't remember any of the other characters' names besides Bugs. I don't even think they introduced them as anything. But also,
mhm.
like, there was just kind of like this sort of like idea of like people's perception of themselves being different in the Matrix than they were in real life. It's kind of like this, as the Wachowskis show you, it's kind of like a allegory for their transness, their
Transformation.
transgender.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and in this one, like you got a second chance. They wanted to like the character of Switch. They wanted to make that character like a man in the real life and the woman in the
Hmm.
Matrix, something like that. And the studio was like, no, you can't do that. And this one, you got a second chance. You could do stuff like that. You can make these kind of movies, and like they kind of hint at it by saying, "Oh yeah, in the Matrix now, Neo looks different," but it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't like mean anything. It's like you barely get glimpses that he does look different, and like I could see a movie where that was the whole entire point was that like you did not see Neo because you didn't know who he was because he was played by a different actor. And then having
Right.
someone trying to like have a mystery of like who is Neo and like and that would be like a much more satisfying of a thing of a journey. But in this, it's just like nah, none of this shit matters. None of it matters.
Once
Here's
again, like
your
you said, it's another thing they tried to hit on because if you remember the part where they show the part that awakens Bugs is her watching Neo's
Neo
character, yeah,
jump off
off
the
it, but
cliff.
he ends up flying. And
Yeah,
but if you saw the flashes, it was like an older man.
yeah.
Like, and so again, they even like you said, they even
They
played with the
hint at
thought,
it,
like, yeah,
but they
and
don't
it
ever
just don't
like
go through with it.
pull it out. Like they don't go through with it. It's like, yeah, Neo looks different to everybody else, but we see him as fucking Keanu Reeves, which doesn't do anything for us as an audience
Yep,
that he looks different because he looks like Keanu Reeves because he is Keanu Reeves. Who gives a fuck?
yep,
And it's like
yep.
you just because you hint at him looking different doesn't mean like that is a through line that we can connect. And it's just all over the place. And yeah, I can keep going about
It,
this how these movies just disappointing on all
um,
levels, but it is. It's
well,
just
let's just
it
talk
just
about
is.
let's go talk about the lazy fight scenes, which bothered me the most. Okay, people, they give Neo the power to be able to basically just force push things out of his way. You know what it reminded me of at first initially? It reminded me of, I don't remember, you remember when New 52 had given Superman that power that he would get overcome with all of the solar of
Sunburst.
the sun. Yeah, he would
Yeah.
release it and go out in the middle of nowhere to release it. It made me feel like that. And I go, okay, cool, because Neo's always had that matchup with Superman. So I'm like, let's see where this goes. And no, it just became a plot device. Say that for Neo to not have to fight. It was like, oh, we can move a missile this way. Things dropping off as human bombs. Instead of having this cool action scene, we have a maneuver and dodge and have to work as a team to figure out how to avoid this. Nah, just have Neo force pull them out the way so that they can
Yeah.
keep going through. Like it was almost an ends to a means just to say that, hey, we want Neo to still be powerful, but we don't want him to do all this creative thinking on how to make this action scene work. And then, like you said before, like I looked on the made for TV budget. Is it just me, or did it feel like when they were driving a motorcycle, it felt like they were driving the same speed in real time? That she was probably
Yeah.
driving 10 miles per hour, and
She's
that
probably
was
driving
it.
10 miles
And
per hour. And that was
yeah,
it just doesn't
instead of speeding
visually
this
look
up on
appealing.
camera so it looks like she's driving faster, so to actually add some suspense and some thrill to the look, it just looked like she was just driving down the street. They just,
Yep.
oh, hey, just weave left. All right, weave right. Leave right.
And here
Oh,
comes
hey,
some
Keanu, put
CGI
your hands
people.
up. Yeah, put your hands up.
It's gonna be all
It's just
CGI here. So just you know what? We're not gonna give you direction. When you feel like putting your hands up, we'll add the people in that point, and
right,
you
right.
know,
Like that was
and we'll make
lazy.
it look real interesting.
The Smith fight in the bottom was lazy. The only fights that were entertaining were the ones with bugs in it. And I guess
Yeah.
I found out later on that she's actually a true martial artist. So that was a good relief. That's why her
I mean,
stuff
she was the
looked kind
best
of
part of
real.
fucking Iron Fist. I'll tell you that.
Right, right, right. So, and that's what kind of made her stuff look realistic and flavorful. But we've seen them take actors who aren't martial artists and make them look like they could fight. And for this movie to just look like the fight scenes were trash, man. And I hate to see keep using it because I know you want a deep dive analysis. It didn't look good. It didn't look fun. It didn't look creative. It looked like as if they were like, we need a fight scene here. So we're going to plant this here, do it. And we need one here. We're going to plant this here, do it. Like, if you're going to do this whole rearranging of Smith and you're going to have this big showdown with Neo and Smith, which is going to kind of take notes from their matchup in the Matrix itself, you have to make this epic to almost do a callback nostalgically, but then upgrade it. Like go, you know what it's like? It's like the people that made the fan film of Vader versus Obi-Wan Kenobi in New
Yeah.
Hope, and they did the fan film, and you're like, what that fight is like in real life, but the fan film upped it to another level. They kept some of the elements of the original, but they upped it. That's what you should have done with this movie with these callback fight scenes. Give us what we know we're familiar with, and then give us something crazier to go, oh crap, like Neo did that instead of taking the body shots he did on the wall. Neo maybe stops him with the force and then flips out. Like it just was none of that. It just was like, oh yeah, you remember this? That was cool, wasn't it? Ah, all right.
And
Next scene.
and I also think one of the worst things about this movie is that they also just include clips of the original Matrix in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, oh, here's the original Matrix playing. You remember this, right? Like, oh yeah, this is right here. Here's a shot, to say that these two of the characters are the same characters. It's just like I guess that's a decision, that's a choice that you can make, but it was just like for me, it's like the whole premise of this in this movie is that the Matrix, in order to trick Neo to thinking that he is not in the Matrix, is to think that he made a video game called the Matrix, and he
Yep.
is has some sort of mental disability in which he is, not being able to delineate between the two. But in the movie, the video game of the Matrix is just the Matrix, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a
Mm-hmm.
video game of the Matrix. It's just, and it's like, how easy it would have been just to have like 1999 CG graphics of the Matrix and just like, oh, this is your video game here. It looks like a video game. These are elements of an actual video game in this in this presentation of the Matrix. But no, it's just a movie, and they just tell you it's a video game without actually. And it's like that's not how video games work. Like video games aren't just straight narratives. They're like it's just there's just made so many bad mistakes or just decisions in this, and then just talk to them like they made us do it, so here you go.
And I feel like that is going to be the legacy of the Wachowski sisters, and for this one, Lana, is that all their movies have these great big ideas that they just never can rein in and make it a cohesive, like straightforward story. The Matrix is like the only one, and let's be real, they didn't think it was going to be a big hit, so they probably only dabbled in some of the ideology because they wanted to just put something out there. And then when it became a hit, they're like, oh, people love this stuff. And then they, instead of having just, again, another dabble of the ideology, they just dumped all the ideology in the next two because they filmed those back to back. And in this one, it feels the same way. It feels like, uh, okay, this is a great idea. Is the Matrix real or not? Yeah, but then we could do it about existentials and nihilism. And they just dumped all that information in there and it just doesn't work. Jupiter Ascending, a
I
lot
think
of stuff in it that doesn't work. And it's just because they had these ideas that I think are great ideas. They just don't have anybody to tame it.
I think for me the biggest disappointment in this movie, and you say like they have these great ideas in the last all of the Wachowski movies, they are swinging for the fucking fences. They are trying to
Hmm.
knock that ball out of the park. They might get struck out, but they are swinging hard. This one feels like they're trying to bunt and get on base, and they still strike out. Like
Yeah.
this one doesn't feel like they swinging as hard as they can. This one it feels like they just walk to the pitcher's mound or to the batting mound, and they're just like, I'm gonna bunt, I'm gonna get on base, and it's like, and the coach is yelling, swing, motherfucker, swing, and then like, no, 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 I got this,
I swung the
and they
last
get
few
struck
times
out.
and struck out. So I'm a
Yeah,
butt this time.
I'm gonna bunt this time. I'm gonna get on base, and they still strike out. Like that's how I feel about this movie. It's like they are not swinging; they're just accepting that they suck at baseball.
Absolutely. Well, please tell us what you think of the Matrix Resurrection. Remember to leave a comment. We will read your comment on the show on future episodes. So let us know what you think about it. Do you think
Anthony
this will?
Rojas.
Yeah.
Go,
Are we
go.
completely off base and it's just that we missed this and we don't understand anything about the Matrix? Or do you agree with us? Or do you have a different opinion of why it sucks? And please comment below, let us know. We will love to read it and enjoy to make fun of it, good or bad. We'll still make fun of it.